The night train to Scotland, pulled by a Class 37 engine. As dawn breaks, it crosses the border bridge, the gateway to Scotland. However, soon this classic diesel engine is to be replaced. For normal passengers, this event will pass unnoticed. For the bashers, it's a tragedy. These are the bashers, hardcore devotees of the Class 37s and survivors of the 80s cult. They express their appreciation for the loco by waving their arms out of the windows, or flailing as it is known.
I've always said bashing really, it's like a professional sport with no trophies. The amount you have to put in to it, it's such that it's practically like being a professional sportsman. I don't think any footballer or any Olympic runner would have put no more effort in than I did in my heyday.
It's not an hobby, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lifestyle, it's not just... It's summer, you're either it, you do it, or you don't. I've done overnights in Inverness. You get in Inverness at 1 in the morning, and you end up in a multi-storey all night.
This guy comes up to me and tapped me off and says, "Why are you taking a photograph like that's too much? What the fuck's it going to do here?" He goes, "Well, I'm from the States and all this, and what are you doing like that?" I thought, bloody hell, here we go. Well, I said, "It's MB, it's heavyweight, and it's hell. And it's new." I said, "It's new, the red penny's out." And he says, he's like that, his eyes were like that going, "What the fuck?" You know, his brain's like ticking over. He goes, "You're not a train spotter, are you?" I says, "No, you cheeky twat, now fuck off."
This is their icon, the Class 37. Nearly 40 years old and living on borrowed time, clinging on to almost forgotten routes. Once there were more than 300, now it's more like 30. In bashing there are no rules, but the more Class 37s you have ridden behind and the more miles travelled, gain your respect from other bashers. Bashing is all about the chase, hunting the beast, from the Scottish Highlands to the Welsh coast.
They like the noise, they like the sound and the shape of them. There's lots of things that they can do and might only do once in a while, and when that once in a while happens, it sort of brings the people out to see it.
Fat Daz from Wigan, a basher for 15 years, hates the Train Spotter Association.
Because there's a train, and you're interested in it, you're a train spotter, and that's the bottom line. I'm convinced my mum still thinks I go and stand on the end of a train platform somewhere. 15, 20 years on down the line, it's still... What are you going there for? What you can't grasp with trains, you're into it from when you're like... we're talking, what, 12, 13 years of age. You're into it then.
But what will you do when it's all over?
Die in a corner. Curl up. That's what loud flush that is, isn't it?
At work in Thwaites, Blackburn, Rishton contemplates his double life.
I go out bashing and I have my Thwaites life and my social life ordinarily, and the two basically don't cross over. There's an element of mystery about what I do outside work. There's a few gaps, almost like I've come out from a prison sentence and didn't want to tell anybody. It's a little bit like that. The thing is, it's not that I'm ashamed, it's just that it's too complicated to explain. The bottom line is, you'd probably just turn around and say I was a train spotter, which I'm not. The thing about bashing is, it's all or nothing. You can't miss anything. If something rare drops, then you've got to go for it, because it's never going to happen again.
One of the last few places to experience the Class 37 is the North Wales coast. Rishton has decided to film from his car one of the last regular 37-pulled trains.
It's now or never for something like this. It's something for posterity. It's something that'll mean something in the future to have recorded it on film, so it's got to be done.
At 90 miles an hour, it's a tricky enterprise, and one which doesn't quite go to plan.
Rishton, take it easy.
We didn't get the shot we wanted. The police turned up and we were cautioned. And Dad's insult to injury, he said, "Where's your anoraks, lads?" And on that note, it's pints. What are you having? 2 pints of lager, please. 2 large gins, please, landlord.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first Northwestern service to Holyhead. This service will be calling at Chester, Prestatyn, Rhyl, Conway Bay, Llandudno Junction, Bangor and Holyhead.
Of course, for bashers, photography just isn't what it's all about. It's about being pulled by Class 37. And with precious few weeks left, bashers are out everywhere on the North Wales coast, making the most of what remains.
The bashers, they're alright, they're good fun, they come on, they'll always talk to you. You've got to have some passion to follow a train around the country, especially being as old as what they are. I don't know, it's having a passion for a little bit of history. What I get said a lot is the big, noisy and they rattle. A proper boy's toy is the best way it's been described to me.
One lucky enough to be paid for his passion is Gomez. Being a basher himself, he is keen to give his engine some thrash.
You could always tell in 80s mythology who was going to be a thrash merchant if he had white socks and grey slip-on shoes. Thrashing was what it was all about because, you know, it's the noise, there's a lot of power in these things. You know, it's big, it's loud, it's powerful, it's interesting, and thrash merchants were always what you were looking for. You know, pretty sure that the computer would have said where every train was, where it was going to be, where it was going to go, and when, and you try and get hold of that information. And it would be completely unreliable. It might be right, it might be wrong, it might have been intended to be right, but some bloke in Doncaster would change the whole thing. So that was what was interesting, and the opportunity to get the 37 that nobody else got because you'd got a better gen, that was one of the things that it was all about.
This is the nerve centre of the rail network. Here, locomotives are allocated to trains around Britain. To the bashers, it is known as the Embassy.
The railway is run by rail enthusiast bashers. The highest level to the people at the bottom.
There are some people who've taken bashing very seriously, who've got themselves jobs in British Railways. That means that they can organise what engine's going to work on what train and can fix it so that when they're not at work, they can go on their favourite trains, or they can fix it so that people they don't like can't get favourite trains.
We're waiting to see what happens with this one.
Also, it can make things difficult for normal passengers who might find their train delayed or cancelled or going to the wrong place.
One just rolled in on platform 9.
At Crewe, there is a major delay, and passengers are oblivious to its cause, a failed Class 37.
How come the guy on platform 6 or somebody on this platform hasn't got the simple courtesy to explain to these people exactly what's going on? You're a disgrace.
Nice bit to you as well.
Depends, we're just waiting for the engine. If it's here before 10:2, this will go in front of it. 37710 is about to drop onto the 1719 Crewe Holyhead.
However, there is growing excitement among the bashers that the replacement will be a very rare 37.
But we're hoping that they'll all make it at Chester. Depends on what Doncaster have allocated. It's a 37er. And that would be the driver. I don't want you breaking this one as well.
Finally, the replacement engine arrives, and miraculously, it's a freight 37, the holy grail for bashers, and extremely rare for passenger service. To be a main man in the bashing world requires many rides like this. It's only a matter of days now before all the 37-hull trains are replaced.
And that's the shape of things to come, I'm afraid. Buses, glorified buses on rails. That's all you're going to get.
Nearly every day that passes sees another 37 consigned to the scrap heap.
I know everything comes to an end, but I never thought I'd see the day where 37s would be just lying about withdrawn and scrapped. Just you'd never expect to see it. The era that I most enjoyed was in the late 80s when I was like bashing on the West Island line, and all the trains on the West Island line were 37 hauled. 37404. When you think back some of the runs that I've had in Scotland to Auburn and Fort William and Mallaig, and just what it's meant to me, and to see it like that with the body side cut away, it just seems so tragic, and it's just something that I never expected to see. I like 408, it's my beast. I've travelled all over it in this country, I mean, it could have been 408 stood there. I mean, I'm equally upset that it's 404. It makes you realise now that if you're going to have a last bash, you've got to go for it now.
This is the East Lancs Railway, a preserved line set in the beautiful Irwell Valley, and an excellent place to save the 37 from the scrap heap.
I grew up with 37s. As I was a kid, I used to go up down the line all the time with 37s, and it was just, you don't know why, but you hang out the window, and you just remember them that way. If we don't do it, if we don't sort of take the initiative to save money up and then go out and buy a loco, is the minute they shut down the last loco, that's it. They're finished. You don't get it. Nobody gets a chance to experience what we've experienced before. I'd love to see 3705 in the main line again, yeah. I would. Myself and a whole rake of others in the group have taken out loans, and we can't afford, really, we couldn't afford loans, Just having experience of working on the things and hearing the things and travelling behind them, it's devastating.
For the bashers, this is all too tame. That night, on the way home from the 37 graveyard, Rishton has tracked down 37108 to Charnock Richard service station on the M6. He contacts Fat Daz for the gen.
I'm at Charnock Richard now. This 37108, it's recessed at Charnock Richard. Apparently the haulage company are currently having a cup of tea, and who can blame them? And then it shall proceed. So there. Who's bought it? You haven't a clue? No, it says sold, please do not rob on the door. That's your lot. And it's going back up main line. Right. Okie doke then, I'll bid you. Bid you good day. Yep. Ta-da. So there we have it. 37108. And it's going to Carnforth. Overhauled at Carnforth. Mainline candidate could be back up main line before you know it.
To Rishton, 37408 is a very special engine, and its name, Loch Rannoch, brings with it a long association with the beautiful West Highlands. However, it is soon to be renamed Rail Magazine.
If an engine's got a name, it should stay that name. It shouldn't be chopped and changed just for whatever reason. But usually, in this case, for commercial reasons, it's wrong. It shouldn't happen.
On a day out at the East Lancs Railway, Rishton bumps into Pip Dunn from Rail Magazine.
Why are you moving your name from engine to engine and undermining the concept of naming locomotives in the first place?
It's not our engine. The locomotive 37408 was going to be repainted and denamed regardless.
I think that if Rail Magazine were to put pressure on EWS to pick a different locomotive, then they would do so.
I know exactly where you're coming from, but the first thing when it said 37408, I did ask him, and I asked him several times, and he said no. You're missing the point.
No, you're missing the point. Rail Magazine is supposed to be a magazine, well, allegedly, for the purpose of rail enthusiasts, etc., etc. And you're going all out to undermine what people want.
Not. Why don't you just listen to what I've said?
Yeah, and I've listened to what you said, and I think it's nonsense. I think it's rubbish. I mean, who are you anyway?
When 37012 lost its nameplate, and every other 37 which lost its nameplate.
You stumped there, Rishton, with that. You stumped with that then.
You obviously don't read it, do you?
You're
just your typical bloody person with that much knowledge about that much of the subject.
I'll tell you something else as well for that matter. It happens to be that I have got every single copy of Rail Enthusiast Stroke Rail since April 1981 it come out, so I do know what I'm talking about. I do read your magazine.
Good.
And it was a lot better when you weren't fucking involved in it, I'll tell you that. Much better magazine. Oh, yeah,
Who brought that on then?
I don't know.
You get a lot of people, like the girlfriend says, I'm going to turn him into an anorak. No, I'm not. When he grows up and if he's not interested in going on trains, I wouldn't force it on him, it's up to him, but the general public think you're a nutter most of the time, don't they?
Yeah.
You do, don't they? You
Yeah.
get lads at our place at work, you get the closet bashers who used to bash, who won't tell you that they used to bash, but you know they did.
Yeah.
And the first time somebody mentions it at work, I never did it. You know that damn well they did.
They did. There's no youth coming through into bashing, really. But I think, really, the railway now is offering a lot less to a potential basher, isn't it?
You should always carry, never leave home without it. Piece of scrap paper to write your moves on, just in case you made a note. A North Wales Coast timetable on one piece of paper.
Cunning.
With egg code written. And a ticket from last week. A girl's telephone number in Leeds, so if you ever see that, Lindsay, I still love you. No. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm only joking.
So what's more important now, football or trains?
Well, there is a very fine line. A very fine line. Because I was... we played Lincoln at home. And 37-087, which is now scrapped, went to Bangor and back. And I had to get up extremely early, and I went and did that, and then went football. Which was a bit desperate, like, leaping about, but
So
I did
if
it.
it really comes to it, what would you choose?
It depends what locomotive it is. By the way, I'm not into them. It's not my era. They got scrapped in 1978.
So it just means nothing to you, that
It's just a lawnmower. They should put blades on front of it. Because that's what they are. That's what they sound like.
When it got to like 1990, I found that I had free Sundays, and it was like what to do on a Sunday. And I'm probably as obsessive with rugby league now as I have been with trains, and I think it's really the nature of being a basher that makes you that way. So I've got to like go to every ground, I've got to go to every game. But suddenly, if your life empties out of it, the trains are always there, and so once you've had another 37, it's like, oh, why have I left this? Why did I leave this? And it's like you want more of it, and the obsession just takes over. And I've been back bashing quite a lot now, But so it's a fine balance between rugby league and bashing, really, bashing 37s.
The end is nigh. Tonight, 2 Class 37s will pull a train along the West Highland Line for the very last time.
Scotland is one of the special places to have a 37. You've got the thrash in the Highlands, which just amplifies it in the morning. It's just something that you've got to feel. It's just something that's special. And we're going to see that tomorrow first thing.
Rishton boards a train at Preston, but the bash has been underway since rugby, over an hour's drinking time ago.
Stuart's now got to extremely drunk shape. Renault! Just when things were getting tasty.
I'm currently enjoying the motive power up front. However, I do tend to detract from that to find that I am an absolute mess. I think the bash is coming to an end, so now is the time to get it in. Because at the end of the day, it isn't going to be there for much longer, so you've got to get it in.
That's 2 foot tall and stands next to a baby's pram. Gary Gull at his boots.
And it isn't it? That's what atmosphere.
Did you see the route we just came up there? Which way?
What, by your wish or?
Yeah.
Who is that? Oh, that before.
While the bashers sleep, disaster strikes. One of the 2 engines hauling the train at the demanding gradients of the West Highland Line blows up.
because 023 has failed traction and motor fault.
This is the 9 o'clock news.
Game ball.
It's degenerated into an utter force.
This is the joys of bashing. Enjoy.
We're going to go to open with the one loco only. We've got barely enough time to get their swift run round and then head back and trust it on its own. The driver seems quite confident.
So with no replacement, a single engine will have to pull the train on the rest of the route. This means it will have to work harder, increasing the thrash, the ultimate for a basher.
Tractor on low 12, putting it on, but this is what you live for.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Low 12, I want to miss this one. Bloody world. The single one is the fucking, that is the dog's bollocks. Fuck your purrs. Purrs. Class 37. Purrs. Never class 31. Yeah!
When it's all over, maybe I will go out to the pub and have a quiet pint or play dominoes down the local. Or maybe I will just stay in my room and like do nothing because I know nothing else.